Hello, everybody, and welcome to Hangout on Connections, or as we call it now, Hangout on Connections. Before it was Connection Forums. Excuse me, I'm getting confused. We begin well today, don't we? So, we are very happy that you are here, and with us is again Cindia Carrere. And she has been with us some months ago and was so exciting, and so we wanted to have her back. And today she will speak as how the right words will attract your ideal clients. And first, some words about Hangout on Connections, which is a forum for healing, expression, relationships, and all these things which are so important in our lives today. And as we know, many of us, we are coaches and healers, and we have a little bit of a problem with marketing. So today we will get some information how we can get our message out and get clients without being too pushy, because we fear to be pushy and we prefer to hold back, and then nobody comes. Anyway, I'm Heidi Hörnlein, and I'm a relationship coach and a voice coach and a hangout host and a retreat owner and a course teacher and whatever you want. And I live here in Italy, and I welcome you when you come over to Europe, if you are in America or in the other parts of the world, and come down to Italy if you're in Europe, because it's wonderful here. And stay in our house, and or take a course, or just holidays, wonderful. So before we introduce Cindy, I think, Margarita, you will say some words about yourself.
Okay, I'm Margarita Cristalotis, and helping stressed professional women to overcome stress and struggle and discover their purpose in life and business. As an intuitive mentor and healer, I love seeing clients flourish when they experience the transformational healing in their life. So you can learn more about that on my website, thecrystalotus.com. So now to today's topic, Cindia Carrere. She is one of these soul sisters, I think, because when I met her first, she just connected to my heart right away. And I knew that this was somebody I could trust and that I could relate to in many, many ways. And from hearing her first, she explained something called healing the grid, which is sort of your aura, as I understand, and she has many different kinds of techniques to help people with that. And today, however, we're going to talk about aligning your energy with what you actually can, so that you can describe what your services are, what your, if you are a healer or therapist or coach, let's say, what words are you going to use for actually attracting your clients? So Cindia will share with us how to create a lexicon for one's own work, headlines, or any kind of marketing that you do for your business. And if you hire a copywriter, he or she can then start right away to do the work without costing too much. And I don't know what I could say. Cindia, would you like to tell us a little bit about why you came into this position of being what you are today?
Well, hello, and thank you so much for inviting me back. I feel so honored. And this topic is so hot right now. And I was told at the very beginning, if you niche yourself, you gotta narrow down and pick what you are doing. And so I do energy alignments. I'm an intuitive for entrepreneurs, and I have to say, because I have struggled so much with the words, that I am delighted and surprised to find myself here talking about this, because a year ago, if someone had said, "Oh, you'll be, talking about this," I would have said, "Are you kidding me? I'm up to here, so frustrated about it." So I want to say there is hope, and right now, marketing, there's a new paradigm coming in. And so we are in transition as a community, as a group of entrepreneurs, as heart-centered people, as awakened entrepreneurs. We are definitely in mid-transition, and we can talk about that. But the old way has worked for so many, but it's been in place for such a long time. But we're not fitting into that mold. And so the old way doesn't fit some of us, but there really isn't yet this new way that has presented itself so clearly. So we're kind of suspended in part, one foot in one way and one foot in the other way. So I'll turn this back over to you to comment on that.
Yeah, and so when I heard when I got this idea to invite you for this kind of topic, it was that I read one of your posts. I can't remember the name of it, but I remember I looked on the top and then I read every word, and it's like I was in a waterfall all the way down to the bottom, and I didn't really know what happened. And I thought it was really interesting every step, and I was completely 100% engaged in what you wrote about. So that made me think maybe we should actually invite you again to actually see how you do that. See, marketing is something that selling for healers especially, we were really a little bit resistant to it, right? Because we're not a marketer as such, but we have to market our services in order for us to have a business, right? So marketing sometimes is connected with something like coercion. It's like pushy. It's like something that we really don't like, because we like to see what is our affiliation, what feels right for this, and we don't want to be manipulated. So that's up to each of the business owners to be in integrity and not deceive people and actually give the true value, right? And so that's why I invited Cindia again here to actually show this, because I think she is an amazing, authentic person that actually can share some of these tips for you so that you can actually make your copy, that's the text in your blogs or in your offerings or in your brochures, that your client can read it and be interested about it. So I think that, Cindia, can you share a little bit about, let's say if you do a blog post, how do you go about the topic area or the first line, the first sentence on your blog or your article, let's say?
It's interesting that you would pick the first line. Everybody, if they're readers, they have their own style when they're picking a book or something, if they're not familiar with the author, if they're going to read a book or not. And some people look at the end, some people open the book and just see if there's dialogue or something in the middle. And my test is, if I open the book and the first line hooks me, then I'm intrigued. If the first line is boring, I just like shut the book down. And so that has been since I was a teenager. And if the rest of the article can come for me, anything that I can write will come if I can get the first line, even if I know the topic. So I have angel cohorts. I do ask for divine inspiration all the time. And I know we're talking a lot to healers and artists, and those are people who have so much heart, and often the business brain is actually painful. You know, like to have to deal with technical stuff and to take this esoteric information and to have to crunch it and spindle and fold it and put it in a nice little capsule. It feels so robotic and unnatural. So there's something that's called, you know, business brain and then heart brain. And it's when they can mix If the healer or the artist or the entrepreneur doesn't have a form for their energy, it's just going to dissipate. So if you can imagine wanting a glass of water, but the rain or the water is just spilling all over the place, you might cup it in your hand, but your hands are going to act like a sieve and it's just going to dissipate. But if you did have a container, that might feel a little foreign, but at least if you had some form or container, the information or the water could come in, and then you can do whatever you want with it. Does that help? I can keep going.
What a great metaphor. That's like amazing. Yeah?
Yeah, I liked it too. Very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. So working with energy, some people feel that energy topics are woo-woo and out there, and as soon as you say you work with energy, some people just dismiss and go hippie versus serious business person. But I don't think that's the model anymore. I don't think there has to be this division between business, which is all sharp corners, and energy, which is all soft and curlicue and angular or curves. I really feel that energy is the most practical thing you can do, and aligning it is. So if you have the energy and you have the form, that's when it all lines up and it flows. So, money, we can just talk about money for a second. There's the energy of money, and then there's the actual tangible stuff. Well, talking about energy all day long isn't really going to do you any good if you do not have a form or a funnel or a channel for it to flow through into tangible results. When we all return to spirit, we will not ever need to talk about money if we don't want to. We will never have to talk about our human forms or our body. But for this time period, we are in physical form. So we can blend spirit and strategy. We can be soulful and successful. There doesn't have to be a division anymore of the woo-woo over here and the hardline business over here.
Well, that's a very good comment, and I would suggest that instead of just red and turquoise or black and white, why not do as in the yin and yang symbol? Why can't we not use all the colors that we have available and blend that in so that it's holistic, that it is all parts of us are integrated. We have a logical brain and an intuitive brain, right? And if you look at some marketers that make a lot of money, but if they don't have integrity and connected with their hearts, eventually they are going to suffer from that. Maybe they are super rich, but they're not happy. This is a good sense that we keep in mind, right? Because a bad action always comes back to us, right? But if we have integrity and then know how one can actually attract a client that really needs our services, this is a whole different matter. If we don't learn this, to do this, then we cannot access them. We cannot even, because we don't know which door to open. We don't know which button to push, or which, if you're in an elevator and you're going to go and meet a client on the 10th floor, if you don't know the number with the button you're going to push, then you can't meet them. So words are like buttons. And
yeah, I'm so curious how the first line would be of your blog.
Well, what do you, can you expand on that for a second?
No, because Margarita asked you at the beginning, how do you begin? And I always have this problem. Also, when I do the posts on Google+, I would begin differently. Then I have heard somebody saying, you must put the essential thing in the first 2 lines because otherwise nobody reads it. And what do you use for the first lines?
Well, what I do is I try to distill, like I understand the topic that I want to talk about in that blog post. So it isn't just meandering, like it's not just flow of consciousness, you know, like I'll start out one place and then end up 20 miles away. It's like I do have the message and the points in my head that I want to do, and I might write an outline or something, and then I just, the words do something interesting for me, and I don't know if other people experience this, and maybe, you know, 20 people will be, of course, that's how it works out. But as the words start coming down, they do their own dance. I mean, they just sort of rearrange themselves, and I watch them, and then they just give me like this one line that hooks me. If it hooks me, I'm content. So it's like I try to distill or make someone laugh or surprise them, or to want to know more. What are you talking about? Or for it to be so clear. But I do, if I can get the essence of what I'm trying to say in the first line, then I feel that everything else will just flow and support that.
Yeah, that's cool. So, for example, what kind of words? I mean, we know about things like how to and then the word, or are you missing this? Something like that. What kind of examples can you give us, Cindia? What you start your first line with? Actual words.
Okay, so a few weeks ago, and I just have had to show up and be myself, and if that means I have tons of people, that's great. If it means I have just a few people, I would rather have the amount of people who are reading my words, who are a genuine match, and that I am authentically myself. I would rather have 10 people who are an authentic match to me than 100 people because I'm not myself. So the other night I was awakened in the middle of the night with this word called side-witched. And I had no idea what that meant, but the word side-witch meant the compression that we get from comparing ourselves to others on one side and feeling like we shoulda, coulda the other, and we're completely, constantly compressed into a sandwich. And so the angel showed me that, you know, a sandwich has two pieces of bread this way and the meat in between, but human beings are vertical, so we walk around often compressed. And I woke up and this word side-witched was in my mind, and I knew I had to write about that, even if no one has ever heard that term, you know, whatever. And I wrote that, and that was one of the highest volume of people responding to me going, oh my God, I loved that. And so it's putting out, I just had to use that odd word and then describe it as I was shown, and people really resonated with that. And it was a little bit of a risk, you know, introducing something new, but that's one of the topics of creating your own lexicon. I don't know if you want to get into that, but Heidi, I don't know if that answers, or I really want to answer your question, if at all possible.
Yeah, I find it very interesting. I don't think I begin in this way. I have to think about it. But there is
there's an echo here.
Yeah. I don't know where it comes from.
Go ahead, Heidi.
Okay. There is Vivek asking, he says, in my view, we should always start with why. And he says, I wonder if Cindia could tell us a bit about her why. Why are you doing what you are doing, if you don't mind?
That's great. And I actually have on my list, I wrote down that as awakening entrepreneurs, I love this question, we understand that creating a business is for a certain lifestyle. And if we can get the business right, we know that we can help a lot of people, and marketing is a part of that. And I have right here the who, the what, the why, the when, the where, and the how. And the why is, why do you do what you do? And why? What is your inspiration, your motivation, your message? And I was gifted with an incredible life-changing download that showed me about the energetic pathways that people have and how to clear them and how to help them align. So I do energy alignment for entrepreneurs, and my big why is there is so much information out here. There's the external world, and people have so many rules. All the experts will say you always need to do this or you should never do that. And then we have our own internal guidance, and there's just so much information, and there's confusion, and there's the illusion, and then there's the truth and the light and all this. And so as an intuitive, my big why is to hold space and sit with somebody and to be able to help them find their clarity and help the information just land right in their heart so they are confident, so they know what it is that they are doing. And my big why is to take all these disparate parts, these conflicting things and all this stuff, and then to help make sense out of it. So that is my favorite thing, is just to help collate and synthesize information and to read the energy in someone's field and to say, aha, this is why this is happening. Oh, that, and to help reframe it in a way that is like a jackpot, the combination that before the tumblers weren't working right, but suddenly when the tumblers align, there is just flow.
Awesome, awesome, Cindia. This is a very, very good explanation, I think, and thank you, Vivek, for asking the question. I want to go back to the word sandwich because I read that post. And what struck me was, what is this word? What is it? What is this word? It just like caught my attention, right? And then I wanted to find out what that word meant. So that drew me inside your post. This was not the first post that I mentioned before. This was the second post there. And I just experienced this, what you said, Cindia, about your waking up and following along, and then using this word, and then using your intuition for actually thinking or acting on what you get. Because most people don't do that. They second guess themselves. It should look like this. No, it doesn't have to look like a regular marketing, like you see the pushy things, if I can say it like that. It needs to follow you first. I think that if we use our own vocabulary and our own word that we like, then we attract the people that are like us. Then the second step, I think, is to actually see, is there other people that's not like me, but that I can help? Then I think one has to study those people, what they want, what they can learn from you, and use their words, their vocabulary in the sessions. So, Heidi, what do you say?
Yeah, there is John Jokiewicz, and he says, I agree with Cindia, 1000%, not only 100%. So really a lot. Using your own language, your own terminology creates a bond between you and the client base you are supposed to resonate with. It's a powerful tool. I do believe that. And you know what? That makes me personally a little bit, oops, English is not my language. When I don't use the right words and have my own vocabulary, who will understand that, So what would you say to people who have a different language and are not so familiar in the language they are working in?
Well, okay, that's kind of an unexpected question, and I will sit with that just for a second. But I want to just address it. You guys tossed out so much that is exciting, and I want to say first and foremost, this is one of the most exciting times to be alive and to be an entrepreneur who is awakening. And the awakening is about I've had so many little struggles. Is that when I was raised, I was shown consistently that I could either live a life of service or get my needs met, but not both. And I think there is a time now where we are no longer accepting now. There's a new energy coming in, and we're saying we can live a life of service and we can get our needs met, our spiritual needs, our mental, our emotional, our physical needs met as we are reaching out and serving and helping others. It's a much more model of cooperation and community and how we can help. And it was something that you're addressing is when you are yourself, when you are truly yourself and you are vibrating at that, or that's the frequency that you're transmitting, you will connect with and attract the people who need you. And one client that I've been working with, she has fallen into the trap that many of us did, was that it had to be done. Her business model had to be done a certain way. And she finally, you know, through clearing and all that kind of stuff, she finally realized she doesn't have an original idea in her business. I mean, what she's doing isn't completely original, but she has dismantled it and reconfigured it and put it in a way that makes so much sense with her brain that she now gets it. Her energy is aligned with what she's doing, and she's doing it in her way, and business is just like instant. People are saying yes to her because she's no longer in resistance. And what she said to me was, the switch has been flipped from the resistance to the flow. So she got in alignment with how her own brain thinks, and she took all this other information and arranged it in the order and what feels good to her, and boom, she is now appealing to, and other people are responding because that's how their brain thinks as well. And now there is a business that she has created that fits and serves their needs. So however your brain and your heart work, there are people who are needing you. And so I did want to add this other thing, is that I have spent so much money. If I could have all that money back on how to get my words done correctly. I've worked with people who have told me, no, you can't use the way your style is. You have to do it this way. There's a formula. You have to do the sales call. You have to do it that way. And I kept being shown that I was wrong, but I wasn't getting the results. And I was getting out of my heart brain, and I was trying so hard to force myself into this business brain, and I was running full on into resistance. And so when I was trying to do it in that formula, and I was having those sales calls, people were not feeling the authenticity from me because I was trying to do it the way I was supposed to. And when I said, forget it, it's just not working, and I started receiving my own language and understanding that there isn't a prefabricated phrase out there for me, that I don't have to take somebody else's phrase and put my being into it and hope that will sell. I can trust that the guidance that is coming in is helping me with those words, which is like side-witched. And, you know, I want to talk about the lexicon, and I want to get back to yours, but I've been blabbering on, so I'm going to be quiet for a minute.
Yeah, it's like this. Let's define the lexicon, right? Is it a set of words? You could start with 4 words or 5 words that you relate to. Would that be something that you could tell for us what your 5 or 6 words are?
Sure. So for me, and this will go back to Heidi, you know, how does she do that when she's working with a couple languages? So the lexicon is a personal dictionary. It's the vocabulary of a person. So for me, I work with the energy grid. That was completely downloaded into me. I had never heard of the energy grid before. I did not know anything about it until it was just dropped into my heart and my brain, and suddenly I had this whole different way of seeing, and I had a completely different skill set. And so I used the energy grid and phrases like soulful and successful, coordinates, longitudes and latitudes, energetic pathways, clearing, energy alignment for abundance, soul match, blind spots. Those are words that I often use. So would it make sense for me to try to use vocabulary from somebody else's system, because it has nothing to do with what I'm doing? So those people who resonate with alignment and energy and business and soulful and successful and clearing, they're going to go, yeah, I want to have my energy aligned for marketing. I want to have my energy aligned for writing. That will make so much sense to them. And then other people who they are not there yet, it will just pass by. They won't even notice it. And so it's kind of a win-win either way. And so Heidi, just what's coming to me, I said I would sit with it for a second, is first of all, your native tongue is your native tongue. I mean, that's where, if you think, do you think in your native tongue, and do you have to translate, or how does that work for you?
I think in the language I'm speaking at the moment, so.
Oh, that's incredible. Okay, so I'm an American, so I speak one language.
No, I speak three at the same time.
So if you, I mean, I don't know what language you do your primary business in, so I would start with the language that I'm doing the most clients with and pay attention, what are the words that I really use? Like, I start out with, if I just had only 3 words to describe me, what would they be? And that's tough. But if I can distill it and choose the most 3 important words, and then the most 5, and then the most 10, then it spreads out from there. And I create a list. I have a document called Lexicon for the Grid. And whenever I catch myself saying something, I'm like, oh yeah, that's a word I use a lot. I jot it down and then I put it in that file so that when I'm writing, I'm very consistent with my own language. And other people have different metaphors. Some people, love to talk about cooking, even if they're not a professional chef, how they mix the ingredients in, and people have different metaphors for what they're doing. And if they will start paying attention to their unique language, it will give them confidence. And I would say right now, do not worry if you cannot get your 30-second elevator pitch. A prefabricated phrase or language sentence may not work for you. It may come across as false and inauthentic, and it may be that when you are face-to-face with somebody, that the right words will come in that moment that will speak to them. And as soon as I started trusting that, things shifted for me. And so I no longer hold myself responsible for, I have to tell people this is what I do in this precise way. It's like just what comes out naturally, and people are responding to that so much better. But the other style works for other people whose energy is in alignment with that. And so I talk about that words are both preloaded and are empty vessels for your energy. So to describe that, there's been a lot of kinesthetic, body. Do you guys know kinesiology and stuff? Where okay, so there's a lot of muscle testing that they say the words love and kindness and joy, and your muscle will stay really firm. And then they put in swear words and other things, and the bodies will just weaken. And so swear words in and of themselves come preloaded, and if anyone doubts that, just have somebody call them a really bad word in anger and see how that feels. It's not good. And so the body, I mean, they're loaded. I mean, people use those words for a reason because they pack a punch. So, and then there's the study of the water, about the waters that were the crystals.
Dr. Emoto, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And how the crystal patterns. And so words are both preloaded, because if you do a racial slur or any kind of word that attacks somebody's religion or their looks or something, that will be very painful and harmful. And on the other side, words are also empty vessels that when you put your energy into them, they will go out into the world and touch the people they're meant to in the right way. And I would give you an example, abundance. Abundance is my word. I help people 360 degrees of abundance. But when I hired some experts, they were like, oh, no, you cannot use the word abundance because that is just overused and tired. And I'm like, that's my word. That's the word that was given to me. And I will have to thank you for your advice, but I will have to go forward with the word abundance because it is filled with the energy that it is meant to convey. And so those people who want to explore the 360 degrees of abundance, from me, will find it and resonate with it.
So I really like this because you now put your chosen word abundance, but you related it to 360 degrees. And that's the key. That's the catch, because I haven't heard that before. Like, can't remember hearing that before. But if you have this, then you're unique in that. And then you put that with other words you use. You said, how to have abundance 360. Are you missing abundance in 360 degrees? Or how you put the common words that links the keywords, let's say, so that it flows. And I'm so impressed by your blog with the sandwich, or the other blog post that I mentioned in the beginning, because the words that you put up, like this first word here linked with this word, and the next one, 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 all the way through all the 500 words. That's also something I wanted to ask you about. How can you do that, and how you actually link the first word with the second, etc. Because that helps us to yeah, Heidi.
Can we before acknowledge a little bit our
Yes.
audience? There is Michael Thomas. Hi, Michael. And he says, another form of or consideration of resistance is called change, dear Cindia. Once you embrace it, your possibilities are limitless. Very nice. And then Vivek is answering still about the language. Language gets its message when it is understood by your audience. We have to resonate with ourselves first. When we do that, we are operating at our best. He names me. Once we resonate with ourselves, the entire universe resonates with us. At that point, language becomes irrelevant. Oh, yeah, I can understand that one. Just to, there's another person, Philippe Gaudier, and who else is there? Dr. Aikina Finch, hello. John Jurkiewicz, we had him already. And there might be other people who have not shown up because there were more saying yes. So that's okay for me. And now I give over to you to answer Margarita's question. Okay.
Before that, John said, genuine, grateful, and awe-struck. That's what he says about this hangout here. Thank you, John Jurkiewicz. And so, what can you relate to that? How you connect the words so that they're leading to the end? What's the secret inside of you for that, Cindia?
Well, it may not be what you're thinking, but I first have to acknowledge those comments, and the thoughts and the hearts of the people that are watching are so beautiful, and their response that it's in their own words are so beautiful. So I want to just thank you for that. And I help a lot of people, design their blog and get their language going and clear the resistance to it, because there's just a lot of resistance, and I understand that's change. But when there's energy back up, people can't usually push through it because they get to that energetic. Bouchon is the word that comes up, but traffic jam, and they kind of stop and stall. And consistency. I write all the time, whether I feel like it or not. So I have a schedule. I have a blog. I put it out every week, and knock on wood that I'm not going to miss. But I just write all the time. I have to write emails constantly to clients, to promotional partners, to affiliates, to coworkers, or who I work with. I am writing volumes, it seems like, every day. And especially for the blog, people say, well, I stop and they start and they don't know what to say. There's a memory muscle that happens when you write. And if you don't write very often, the writing muscles can atrophy. And so it's like if you haven't exercised for a while, you have to do warm-ups, and there's a confidence level that hasn't kicked in yet. But when a person writes consistently, even if it's in their journal, if they even approach their emails as practice, when you sit down to write, the energy has already been flowing. If you just wrote a few days ago or the day before or a week ago, you're still a well-oiled machine, and the words are used to coming into you. But if you stop and you start and you stall and you push it away, then the words can be kind of sharp and rusty and slow to get flowing. And so, yeah, so consistency and practice. I play a lot with my words. As an example, I surprised my husband the other day. He loves the Lee Child Jack Reacher novels. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that, but I just had so much fun writing a 2-page letter as if Jack Reacher were describing our life. Now, that was a completely different voice, but it was hilarious, and my husband loved it so much. And when I read other novels, I just have fun riffing on as if I were that writer, and it increases my muscles. Now, when I write for me, I write as my own voice, but I take my writing out on excursions. I speed it up, I slow it down, I write with a French accent. I mean, I do all kinds of stuff so that my words are flexible and malleable, and that they enjoy coming through me because I allow them to. I'm very flexible, and so the written word loves to flow through me. Whether anybody else enjoys it or not, I have a relationship with words.
Yeah, that's the key, right? I mean, personally, I too have practice every morning. I can write whatever I want. First thing in the morning, I write whatever I want, and then I'm a part of a authors community too, writers community, and then I interact on that community. I started this in the beginning of this year, and it's so great because there is support on your writing. If you are an author, let's say, or want to be an author, then you can do that. But I find that just typing in and sitting there and thinking of the words and it's flowing, it really helps. And then then the copy goes really much faster to produce. Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for that.
Well, I was just going to also say that not only the words, but if you are in alignment with your message, if you are loving what you do. Like I was just asked another question on an interview earlier this week was, what advice would you give to new people? And I'm like, choose your topic from your heart that you are willing to sleep with and dream and eat and think 24/7. I mean, it's a topic that is flowing through you out into the world. So if you're the least bit bored, that will come through. So if you are actually thinking and living and in the essence of your message and business all the time, and then you practice writing, the two are just going to naturally converge. So it's just about truly, well, I hear it from people who are in doubt. They just don't have confidence in their own words and their own feelings. Like they'll say, well, my words don't come out the same way as yours. And I'm like, but how often do you write? Oh, about once every 6 months. It's like, well, they don't even have a chance. You know, they want to, and it's giving ourselves freedom. It's like finger painting. You know, it's like you don't have to be a master at it. It's just if you get the freshness and the energy and you just allow yourself to do it, the words will come to you and they'll start taking on your shape and your flavor, and it will really resonate with those that it's meant to.
Wow.
I would like to ask you something or tell you something, because for me, writing a blog post depends very much if I am passionate about it. So if there's a topic, it came into my awareness, and then, you know, I think about it, I dream about it, and then next morning I go up and write. But it might not always be connected to what I think my business should be. So it can be all topics which really, you know, I think I have something to say to them. So what would you say there?
Absolutely. That's why I didn't know what I was going to write that day, but that dream about the side witched, I just wrote about that. So it's what is fresh. So like, think about going to the grocery store. Would you rather, when you're shopping, get fresh, organic vegetables and food that was made that day, or would you like to go shopping for the stale, dead, that's been sitting there for a long time, right? I mean, I don't know about you, but I like the fresh ingredients, and our words are like that. The energy is like that. If you are interested in it and it excites you, so like that's what I was trying to say. My writing needs to entertain me. If I'm laughing at my words, if I'm smiling, if I resonate with them, that's actually what matters, and my clients absolutely matter 100%. But if I try to do it to please them, then I bypass something really vital. And so I'm talking about that alignment when they converge. So when I'm writing and it passes my own test, then if somebody else doesn't resonate with it, it doesn't hurt as much. But if I'm trying to please my clients, then it falls flat sometimes. So whatever is coming out of you, if it's that fresh daily baked bread, if it's the fresh fruits and vegetables, people are going to love it. You know, they're going to be drawn to it.
That's awesome. Awesome. We're coming to the end here. My goodness, it was like a fast show today. And did we mention Dr. Alkina Finn? She says, great tips on copy and content. I will have to use them. Thank you, Alkina. That was really great. And so I want to ask you guys, what is your takeaway? Heidi, would you start?
My takeaway is really a whole lot. But the one thing I think I would like to say, first of all, is what you said, that the elevator pitch doesn't need to be, you know, like you have learned it. We have done a course together where I went, got to know Margarita. You know, you were trained to give that in 17 seconds and talk these words, blah, 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 blah. And then at the end, they didn't mean anything to me anymore, you know. It felt like, it's really me what I'm saying there. So this was a good encouragement to use my own words and maybe take longer than 17 seconds. Okay, thank you.
Well, yeah, you do always, but I listened to the end, actually. That's a good sign.
Okay, good.
So, hi, Cindia, what is your takeaway here from our interaction?
I love the collaboration. I love looking at something so many different ways, and I love the comments from the viewers. I love the interaction, and I just have this feeling, my philosophy is if we each bring a quarter to the table, we'll all walk away with expanded. Like, you know, two people, they each bring a quarter, they'll both walk away with 50 cents. It's not an either or. There's something expansive that happens, and whenever anybody shares something that comes from them, it's just so helpful. I really appreciate the opportunity to listen and hear from you and get other people's perspective.
Well, thank you, Cindia. And my takeaway is that I dare to do this topic, even though we don't really have marketing on Hangout Connections, but it is related to our topic because many of our clients that have emotional problem, let's say, or wanting to develop their voice or relationship, they also have to know that in their work or in their business, they really have to tune in. And I think that what you've said here, Cindia, is like tuning in with your inner lexicon is an incredible, valuable tip that we have promoted here, and you certainly have illustrated it in this whole session. So that's my takeaway. And could you also say how people can connect with you?
Oh, yeah. We have a website, and we're actually, if people were to look at it today and then possibly look at it tomorrow or the next day, we are just at the cusp of putting the last few details for our new website. But it's www.healyourgrid.com. And we have a really fun opt-in if anybody wants to have the high frequency statements. I believe in affirmations, but I think by themselves that it can cause more of a dissonance sometimes. I think affirmations, if they're planted in fertile soil, can grow. But if a person is like really heavily in debt and they're very bummed out about that, and they just say a phrase over and over again, I have $1 million, it won't feel right. So what I have been gifted with is high frequency statements to help clear the issue first, and then to call in the abundance in different areas. So about, like having to be good enough or perfectionism or any of those things. There's some very valuable statements that people want to get.
Thank you so very much, Cindia. And before I hand it over to Heidi, we have to go soon. Thank you so much, and I would love to have you back on another topic. We can maybe have several. Over to you, Heidi.
Yeah, I want, as we are talking about marketing, shall we try to do some marketing and tell people about our membership, free membership site?
We can.
Yeah, we did a week-long fun and relaxation challenge, and in the aftermath, we have created, Margarita has created, she is good in that, a membership site, and we want to go on and once a month have a free event for everybody who is interested. And Margarita, would you like to say what the...
Yes, it's like, I could post the link in the comment stream, that's better. And this is really fun because it's called the Fun and Relaxation Challenge that we just did for a whole week with 8 sessions. And it was really, really fun for releasing stress or becoming more relaxed and calm down your brain or any kind of thing like that. Because as business owners, you know how much stress it is to be a solopreneur, for example. That's very stressful. So we need to learn about some practices that we can do to relax our mind and body and have some fun. And we, Heidi and I, have created this membership site so that you can, if you are interested, you can go there and sign up, and then there's a free content for replays, and you have also access to questions that we have that you can have, and you get this free group coaching session in this area every month. So this is something that we're working on. So we'll put the links in the comment streams after. We have to go because we are late for the next shows. So,
okay, thank you.
Thank you, everyone, and everyone who listened. And I think this was a very good session. Thank you so much.